The machine room key and machine instructions have been picked up from the back hall's upper floor compartments. Daniel may now access the machine room in order to find out that he needs 2 extra spare rods from the storage. In order to save time, we will first journey to the storage so that we have everything we need in order to make the elevator great again. The storage is notoriously known by many players to be possibly the most terrifying section overall in the game. Something I can personally vouch for, as I felt close to even passing out during my first visit there back in 2012. Its entrance consists of a humble set of stairs leading down to a seemingly innocent and cozy section at first, but traversing what lies beyond is going to be not least mentally challenging. The more you look down the stairs and analyze your first impression on what might lay ahead, the more you may begin to hesitate. Going forward, the only entrance that has torches next to it is this one. It gives off a crude feeling, as if one is supposed to pick up one of them and bring it ahead. Or maybe this is just me craving extra light sources, knowing the environment which lays ahead. The first sight that meets you is a very crude layout, half looking religious. Having stepped inside, you will notice that the descent is not yet over. The stairs are now basic, like the flooring itself, and the walls and roof look creepy. Is this even the same castle anymore? The ambience reflects this transition, bringing in a very powerful soundtrack to make an imprint, possibly the most memorable and powerful environmental track in the game. The darkness swallows the storage section whole, giving it a haunting and nightmarish aura. Parallels can be drawn to the refinery, where this was pointed out by Daniel and subsequently defended by the Baron for a good yet undisclosed reason.
It sure is dark in here.
Yes, and there's a good reason for it.
What's the reason?
Stay close.
What's the reason? Why is it so dark?
In the refinery, I speculated that it could be due to the servants working there, veiling them from view, or at the very least hiding the fact that they were no longer human. Or perhaps it's the other way around. Could it be that the servants strive in the darkness, becoming less effective in the light? They are, after all, otherworldly spirits trapped in mangled bodies. This might be one of the main areas for servants to reside and work. Just look at the place. It appears disconnected from the rest of the castle. The environment is pure dark. The structure and quality is beyond basic, with only a few candles placed sparsely about, as if the area was never intended much for basic human decency. I doubt the Baron would allow his servants a 5-star hotel or a clean environment. Yet another descent leads to a general equipment section, although it is less likely that spare rods will be stored there. By now, we know that Daniel is capable of having mysterious flashbacks of events not relating to him. Sadly, this is not the case in here, as he personally has a bad past relating to this area. Venturing deeper into the storage triggers a flashback of a girl pleading for freedom, promising not to tell anyone that she was imprisoned in Brennenberg's dungeon.
Please, let me go! I won't tell anyone, I swear! I just want to go home! No! Get away from me! Leave me alone!
But it is too late, as she already loudly announced that an outrider will be warned, and this is what is causing former Daniel to lose the little bits of empathy and sanity which he had left. Anyone could easily change for the worse when exposed to inhuman conditions over time. Daniel has been unable to sleep, due to never-ending mental torment, not only fearing for his life in every waking moment, but also having immense guilt from all those who fell victim due to his curiosity and theft of an orb. Until now, Daniel has not only been lied to, but in moments where moral is challenged and he should have known better, he has been gullible and even lying to himself. At that point in history, Daniel thought of Alexander as the last chance to make everything right in the end. Then escapes a little girl who speaks just the right words to trigger an unspeakable reaction, telling the Outrider, "Oh no, you little brat, have you no idea what I've been going through? Do you think you are going to ruin my one chance at redeeming myself? No, I doubt that very much." Flash forwarding to this area, where the underage prisoner has been able to avoid being recaptured so far. Last minute pleading to Daniel's sympathetic side won't get her anywhere. Daniel is in a state of insanity where no risk to the orb project may be present. No, he has even surpassed this state. Daniel starts walking slowly towards the girl, closing in like Michael Myers in Halloween. The girl's emotions shift from sadness and despair to true terror in a heartbeat. Did she spot something sharp in Daniel's other hand? Did you listen closely to the auditory flashback? It sounds like a squeaky lantern being carried along. There is also an event that could sound like a barrel or box being tipped over. Alternatively, the more I listen to it, it sounds like it could be the storage entry door being slammed. It is entirely plausible that the girl dared not venture further into the dark and unnatural storage, asking for forgiveness before realizing it's too late for such and choosing the lesser of two evils. Once this flashback is triggered, her crying and moaning joins the ambience from time to time, giving a haunted environment even more fuel. Although the amnesia potion is highly effective, Daniel is being forced to vividly hallucinate the shaky voice of the terrified young girl over and over again, to the point that he will start to question if she is still in fact hiding somewhere in the storage. After all, at this point he is unaware of who she is and who is chasing her. Blood can be seen on the ground, hinting that the girl already was wounded at this point. Maybe each blood trail marks the spots where she would fall for a moment before getting back on her feet and fleeing deeper into the storage section. A door to the right is either broken or locked. Pay close attention to the ground in front of it, as this may be relevant later. The machine parts compartment is inaccessible due to a cave-in. The state of the castle is ever degrading. A violent explosion will be able to clear the way. Somewhere in the storage there is a rather explosive mixture, as explained by Agrippa in a note. This will be shown as we progress. Due to rusted valves, the only way to safely get the mixture is to drill through the containers. The drill can be found as a, for some reason, scattered assembly kit. The first part will be in one of the side rooms of the entry area of the storage. Upon picking up the pointy part, a growl is heard from outside this room. Daniel is not simply imagining sounds. If the door was left open, then you will see a creepy silhouette appear. A servant is wandering outside. Stay low or you'll be spotted. The mindless lackey roams deeper into the storage. But where did it go? At first glance, one would think it had simply vanished into thin air, and that used to be my theory at first, but look down next to the locked door and you will see what became of the creature, as those bones were not there mere moments ago. Is the guardian killing these things while you are not watching? Or is the lifetime of a servant grunt before falling apart really that limited? The equipments portion of the storage is located even deeper, requiring a longer set of stairs to be reached. Some moonlight shines through a tiny window. There are 2 containers for an explosive mixture, titled primary and secondary. The remaining 2 drill parts are also to be found in the side rooms.
Is anyone there?
Once all 3 parts are collected, they may be assembled into a functional carpenter's drill. A very old note from Agrippa surprisingly lingers in one of the rooms, supporting the theory that the crude storage does not get much maintenance or love. The way Agrippa addresses the servants may indicate that he knew their true nature, how clumsy they tended to be, and just how replaceable they were. He mentions avoiding further mishaps, indicating that some servants possibly already blew themselves up. The 2 containers are then mentioned. When combined, the mixture may become extremely violent if not handled with utmost care. Thankfully, the path to the cave-in is a relatively short one. The now empty chemistry pot from earlier makes for an excellent vessel for the current project. The Guardian roars violently from somewhere above, as if paying close attention. The explosives do not by themselves detonate, they need to be handled poorly. Simulating it being handled by a featherbrained servant can be done by throwing an object at it. The way is clear, now also exposing the above area looking somewhat similar to the back hall. Finally able to proceed, a flashback is soon to arise. The scared little girl pleads for reasoning behind the chaser's dramatic change in communication and aura as she tries to escape into the food storage. Despite its purpose, this end of the storage gives little to no appetite. Everything is rotten and is far beyond the expiry date. There is a window which delivers some natural light, trying to give at least some comfort to anyone venturing in this far. A door is revealed in this light. But trust me, this door is best left alone. A servant is residing in there, but should Daniel slam the door shut at once, then it does not bother to give chase. Was it resting? Is this why there was a single loud slam of anger? Does it have to wake up first? Does this mean that they have the need for sleep? Regardless, I always found this encounter to be puzzling. Daniel should be glad, as that could have escalated fast. The spare rod shelf is not far away, but before Daniel gets to venture much further, a startling flashback shows up. A man, fueled by hate and killer instinct, has cornered the girl, charging after her and without hesitation stabs her multiple times until the poor victim stops breathing. After coming to his senses, Daniel realizes what he has done. He killed a little girl. Until now, he has been doing unspeakable things to victims he thought were imprisoned for heinous crimes. Now he is a murderer himself. He starts realizing that not only has he gone way too far, but also the fact that he has been lying to himself for way too long. He also feels betrayed by Alexander, taking advantage of his fears and shaping him to do all of this. This marks Daniel's climax in his past. The memory fragments are stuck deep within the mind as a sharp pain that won't go away. The girl's screams are among the first memories to arise after consuming the amnesia drink, being heard clear as day in the entrance hall. He still does not know that he played a role in this, however. It is part of former Daniel's plan. Keep the truth hidden away, at least for the moment, so as to focus on the objective of bringing Alexander to justice. More about this will be revealed much later in the game. Now for a different perspective, as we move to current Daniel's confused eyes along with your first time playing or watching a playthrough. The realization that the girl's crying and whimper still can be heard. I find this alone worthy of a mention, as someone you just learned was killed should not be heard crying. Daniel's auditory hallucinations are vivid and hard to distinguish from reality and present time. Approaching the far end of the storage reveals a crime scene. A loud final scream startles Daniel as he falls to the ground, frozen in fear. A fire is lit from nowhere on a weird torch-like object. Daniel's vision goes haywire, as if a violent memory tries to rip itself out of his head. For a brief moment, the ambience grows weird. Rose petals fall from the ceiling and sounds of a ship can be heard. It's as if forgotten memories are merging together while arising to the surface. After this, the girl's cries are no longer haunting his ears, at least for a while. The scream sounds off. Didn't we just hear her last moments in a flashback? It does appear to represent her dying moments, but did she have enough strength and air in her lungs for a last scream? Could this be her spirit lighting up the fire and haunting Daniel? Maybe it merely haunts him within his own mind. There are chains hanging from the ceiling. I am sure their presence have a purpose apart from making creepy sounds, although I wouldn't know what that is. The girl's dress remains on the floor, but the trail of blood continues into the corner of the corridor. What happened, though? And what's with the fire? Did Daniel intend to burn the corpse along with the clothing to get rid of any evidence? If the dress is inspected, Daniel will start hearing screams, as memories of the girl will flow through him once again. An elongated room hosts the 2 spare parts needed to complete Daniel's rod collection. They are joined by a non-signed note, instructing the reader that a 3rd rod was repaired in the inner study room. A servant is nearby and approaching. It peeks at the newborn fire curiously, before wandering back into the food section. It is relatively thorough and will also pay a second visit to the unfamiliar fire, so Daniel needs to be extraordinarily cautious. Many players feel particularly cornered in this place of despair. You are at the far end of an unnaturally dark and long storage facility, and there is a servant on your tail, determined to find you. It is best to stay low while giving no reason for it to investigate further. If it suspects you are in the vicinity due to a suspicious noise or glimpse of silhouette, it will become more aggressive in its search. Daniel's heart will skip a beat, and the ambience tenses up to represent holding one's breath. I will elaborate more on such in a special episode later on. once deemed safe to come out from a hiding spot, you will notice a certain door being open in the food storage. The confused servant from earlier has fully awoken and left the side room unattended. The room is mostly empty though. The Guardian roars loudly from above while some smaller rocks are collapsing through the hole, proving that the Guardian's violent presence is the culprit of the various cave-ins. Ahead roams a servant, temporarily guarding the exit. This could very well be the same one from moments ago, but it should be noted that if Daniel decides to rush past the first one in a panic, there will still be a servant by the exit. With the little remaining distance left now, however, not much stops Daniel from reaching the back hall, and after a quick scouting around, a leap of faith becomes the choice of action. There is not much safety to return to, however. During the time in the storage, the back hall's condition and ambience has degraded further. The Guardian's presence has polluted the once safe haven, and there is not much time before it becomes swallowed whole. Will the elevator ride be a pleasant one, however? What terrors await in the depths? As for now, there is no more business to be had in the storage, thank God. Do not hesitate sharing your own story and experience from traversing that dreadful place. Thank you for watching, and despite revisiting such a dreadful section of the castle, I wish you a pleasant night.